Hello. We're going to talk about the most important topic in government that there is, and that is the power of concurrence. Most people don't understand the power of concurrence. They don't even understand concurrence. We don't even understand what a majority consensus is. And that's why voting and stuff like that today really has no purpose or authority or anything like that. Let me adjust a little bit. Is because we don't understand that those are some serious requirements for a quorum to consider matters and a majority consensus with an equal vote to determine matters by a predetermined majority consensus. And we have to understand why it's that way. Because today we don't understand it at all. And we are a country in disarray. It's not just dysfunctional. It's chaos, which is something completely different. So, in order to understand the power of concurrence, we have to understand how that power is established and by whom. How did they establish this power of concurrence? Because, see, we need the power of concurrence before we can establish all the other powers. Executive power, judicial power, legislative power, the whole 9 yards. So yes, there was a precursor to determine the distribution of powers in government, okay, and what powers are subordinate and which powers are primary, ordained powers. Because if you read the preamble of the Constitution of the United States, it doesn't just say we the people. So the people didn't write jack. They didn't agree to anything. It's we the people of the United States in Congress assembled. Okay, that's the union of the states in a Congress, which was ordained as the established government authority by whom? By the states, by unanimous agreement for how to distribute power between the states to determine how the states acted as a union. Okay? See, this is the purpose of government. And it goes back to what was declared in the Declaration of Independence, which you don't find out until the last paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, when it tells you that we, the delegates of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, okay, do declare that these colonies in America should be free and independent states with the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things independent states may of right do. Okay, so that is the purpose of government. because at that time, we had 13 independent states that declared their independence from the state of Great Britain for those rights to do those acts and things a free and independent state may of right do. Okay? So they didn't declare their independence to act together. And at that time, they didn't have any structure to govern how they made collective decisions. So there was no union at that time. The United States and General Congress assembled was not a union. They had to form the union. How did they form the union? They had to agree. How did they agree? Through a participation versus compliance agreement, which establishes the benefits, privileges, rights of participation in decision-making, and cost of membership in the union. But it's that rights of participation in decision-making that's important, because that determines the cost. That determines the benefits and the privileges. That determines how they make collective decisions for what to do. Okay? And that is what they had to agree to first. They had to agree to how do we agree to make collective decisions. And what did they choose? They chose democracy, where all the states were assembled as equals with equal suffrage. Okay? Didn't matter how big the state was, how many people lived in the state, how many voters they had. Nothing. All the states are equal with equal suffrage. And if you go to Article 5 of the Constitution of the United States, the last thing it says in that article, which establishes how to amend the Constitution, it says, and no state shall be denied their equal suffrage in the Senate without their consent. Okay, what does that mean? That means that you cannot change their suffrage, state suffrage in the Senate. They all have equal suffrage, just like they did under the Articles of Confederation. They all had equal suffrage. That's what it means to assemble as a democracy. They all have it. They're all equal. And just like under the Articles of Confederation, each state was required to have between 2 and 7 delegates to be considered present. Okay, if they only showed up with 1, they would not be counted as present to satisfy the quorum to operate Congress as a legislative assembly. Okay? That's what that 2 to 7 means. And it means the same thing today for the Senate. In order to be counted as present, each state must have both of their senators present to be counted toward the quorum of the states to operate the Senate as a legislative assembly. Okay? You can't have 1 Democrat and 1 Republican. Each state has 2 senators and equal suffrage. Each senator may have 1 vote, but the state has equal suffrage in the Senate. And what's a state? What constitutes a state? Because of Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution of the United States, which guarantees each state a republican form of government, all the states, to be members of the Union, must assemble their most numerous legislative branch as an exact representation of the population of the state, demographic population of the state. Period. In order to be a member of the Union. And that qualified electorate, which assembled the most numerous legislative branch, also assembles each state's legislative delegation, representative delegation to the federal. And all the senators are chosen by that most numerous legislative branch to the federal legislature. Okay? So that assembly is the most important assembly in our government, is the most numerous legislative branch of the state legislature. Why? Because they direct their senators. They tell their senators what to vote. They tell their senators what to consider. They tell their senators what the people of this state want to do. And they have the power of concurrence over their vote. You cannot win their concurrence. You cannot consolidate it by political affiliation. You can't deny a state their equal suffrage. And when it says equal suffrage, that means that they participate equally in every damn thing in the Senate. That means that if they want to be on a committee, they on a committee. Every state is equal. You don't have anybody deciding who can be on a committee or not. Every state has a right to be on those committees. Every state has a right to have their opinions and their citizens and their everything considered. They have the right to have whatever they want considered to be considered because it's equal. Okay? Equal. They don't have to go to court to decide anything. If they don't want to do something, they don't do it. If they want to do something, they do it. If they don't like what the president is doing, they call his buns right into the well of the Senate and say, you will do this, this, and this, or you are out of here. And if you screwed up something with your actions, you will be held accountable in the common course of law to penalties up to and including loss of life, liberty, and property. Okay? Not just not being able to run again because you can't run for office, higher office, and you can't run for any office in the United States because the most numerous legislative branch has a requirement for the composition. So it doesn't matter who runs or who wants to be a representative. Doesn't matter. Because when you get done, it has to look just like the population of the state. Period. And that's who chooses all the persons for higher office in the United States, is that most numerous legislative branch of the state legislature, and up to and including the President of the United States. And when it comes to the Supreme Court, every state must have one of their own judges in the pool of judges, which can be drawn out by lot to hear, and resolve the matters that are before the Supreme Court. Okay? Every state, not just 9 blokes that some president wanted. Every state must have 1 judge in the pool. And it's not the Chief Justice either. Chief Justice does not participate in any of the decision or anything. They preside over the proceedings. They do not participate in those proceedings. Same thing for the President of the United States. They preside over the operation of the executive departments, but they do not participate in any of the subjects and duties of any of the executive departments. And when a new president comes in, they don't form a cabinet. Why? They don't have any decision-making powers. No authorities at all to make any decisions whatsoever. If they have information that needs to be considered, they have to transmit that information to Congress, where the states are, for them to consider. President doesn't consider anything. They take care that the laws made by others are faithfully executed. That means that the executive departments are ancillary and subordinate to the authority of the United States in Congress assembled, the Union, which establishes and directs all the executive departments. President doesn't do jack. Even when it comes to making a treaty or anything, you got Trump writing these executive orders for trade and all that. Bull. And why can't we get him under control right now? Because you have to assemble the states as the Union in a Congress before they can act as the Union. Okay? Which is the established government authority ordained by Article 6, Clause 2 of the Constitution of the United States. Because it says this Constitution, the United States in Congress assembled, has the power to make all laws and all treaties, which are the supreme laws of the land. The Constitution, the document, is not the supreme law of the land. Those laws are made by the states in a Congress, which are the supreme laws of the land. Why am I talking about this 250 years after our country was founded? 250! And we still don't even know what the established government authority is and what a democracy is, or what a Congress is, or what the Union is, or what a representation is. Okay? This is where we got problems. And this is the only topic we should be discussing today. And where should it be discussed? In a Congress of the states as equals, which represents what? All the people. They're the only ones who have the power and authority to answer these questions of their union. Thank you.